Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a good show lined up for you today. We'll be joined here shortly by JC, talk a little sports. Second portion of the show, we'll be joined by Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus, talk a little NFL, but also where they have a lot of the Gator football players graded. They watch every play and grade every play of every player. But first, we're going to go to the Titan MR hotline. We're going to be joined by a special guest, Jasmyn Copeland. She's the new director of the Big Brothers Big Sisters here in Alachua County. Good morning, Jasmyn. How are you?
Good morning, Shane. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So we brought you on because the Big Brothers Big Sisters went away for several years here in Alachua County. You're the new director. Just tell us how that all unfolded.
Yeah. Well, it was just kind of, it's one of those things that I couldn't have lined it up perfectly this way on my own. So just a lot of prayers, really, as far as, I had come into Big Brothers Big Sisters from the education realm. And so one of the areas that I felt like in education that I wasn't able to provide was a lot of that one-to-one mentorship. And so we get an opportunity to be exposed to a lot of students, but we really don't get to hone in and focus on their life as a whole. And so when I was kind of considering some of the aspects that I enjoyed in academia, that was something I was looking for. And so through a mutual friend, we connected, and I'm just super thankful to be here now. So, yeah.
So as the transition starting it back up here in Alachua County, has it gone pretty smooth?
Yeah. It's crazy because they hired me right in the middle of a pandemic. And so, they kind of took a chance doing that as well. But I got to tell you, the need is there. And so it just has been really pretty seamless. We have connected with so many different families. We've partnership with Partnership for Strong Families, as well as Gainesville Housing Authority, and just so many other different resources that we have here in Gainesville that, to be perfectly honest, I was totally unaware that we have. It's just made me even more proud to be a resident of Alachua County. We have so much that we offer, and through those different resources, I've been able to connect with a lot of different families. Been very fortunate.
So if someone wanted to get involved and become a volunteer, how do they do that?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So that's the key component, right? It's like it has to be a perfect mathematical equation, because Big Brothers Big Sisters, we are a one-on-one mentorship. So we have one big, which is what we call our volunteer or our mentor, and then we also have the little. And so the volunteers is the other component. And so really, if somebody is interested in becoming a volunteer or supporting our organization in any capacity, they can reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to share my email address as well in the end, or if you have a chat, I can add it. But it's just Jasmyn, and that's spelled Jasmyn, C@BBB, 3 B's for Big Brothers Big Sisters, BBBS, TampaBay.org.
All right, we'll make sure we get that put up on the Facebook Live. So when you're interviewing the volunteers, what are the specifics you look for in someone that wants to be a volunteer?
Yeah, so I think that the key component is having a heart to want to give, having a heart to want to share some of the information, the experiences that you've experienced yourself, the successes that you've had that you want to help somebody reach for themselves, or maybe the failures that you've had that you want to keep somebody from reaching. So really just having that kind of a compassionate, giving heart is probably the most important aspect when looking for a volunteer. And then, of course, just somebody that is able to squeeze in consistent amount of time. We don't really look for a specific age, although they do have to be an adult, so 18 or older. I'll tell you, Shane, we really have a huge need for males. And so, I was fortunate to benefit from your volunteer experience when you shared your time with my oldest son, Keller, on the football field. And I feel like, we have so many amazing male coaches out there. We really need to focus and hit this area of mentorship as well. So, that's happening on the field. You see that anyway. The coaches are, it's not just about the sport. It's about a lot of other areas as well. But we need to take that off the field and move that out into our community. So, we really have a strong need for male volunteers.
We're speaking with Jasmyn Copeland. She's the new director of Big Brothers Big Sisters here in Alachua County. Okay, so, a lot of people, I don't have time. I got kids of my own. I'm busy, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Is there any way they can also support the organization?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. I will say that a lot of times we make it out to be worse in our head than it is in reality. So really becoming a volunteer looks about 8 hours a month. And so for some people that looks like, consistent 2 hours a week, but for other people that doesn't work with their schedule. So it might look like 2 or 3 times in a month. And so you'd be surprised at some of the things, we already know this. If we cut out some of the, things that we do that aren't as quite as purposeful, that don't quite make us feel as whole, we can really squeeze in some time that would better serve us than somebody else. But that being said, if that's not an interest in somebody, we're always looking for people that are willing, to share our organization, to share our message with other individuals. And of course, funding is always needed. It costs about $1,500 for each match. And a match is when we pair a big and a little together. So we're always looking for ways that we can continue to fund, to continue to do our good work. Yeah.
We got a Facebook Live comment here brought to you by Meldon Law, where you matter most. Rick says, my niece worked for Big Brothers Big Sisters in Tampa Bay a few years ago. Says It's a great program. Let me ask you this. During the pandemic, how hard has that been with the being able to mentor the kids? Are they still able to go do activities, or is it more virtual stuff?
Yeah. So, we've done what every single business, what every organization, probably everybody that you've had on here has already commented. We've pivoted. We've tried to figure out where we can meet people where they're at. And we're really working with the comfort level of both sides. So the family, the parent or the guardian of the little, so that side, as well as our volunteers. And we're meeting them wherever they're at. And so that's part of the interviewing process. We find out the particulars of each side. And, of course, we have masks, and we're doing things as safe as you can possibly do things. But I would say the best way that we are approaching that is we're meeting people where they're at, wherever they're at. And we're working with whatever we can, because connections still have to happen. They can't stop. These kids need it now more than ever. So we're willing to do whatever we need to do to continue to support.
Good stuff. Well, obviously, your husband is Drew Copeland. People know Sister Hazel, Ken and Andrew. Have you kicked him out of the house? Are you tired of him being around? You got him back out on the road singing yet?
Yeah, it's been an adjustment for us. I think that we've done, actually, I'm pretty proud of us. I think we've done pretty well, because I'll say in 18 years of being married, we have never been together this much. And so he's been home since March. And, it took a little bit of an adjustment, and we're crazy. And so we decided to bring 3 puppies onto our property as well during the pandemic. So it's been really nice, because that's kind of, he's been kind of, handling that more than the rest of us. And so, but overall, I'd say we're handling it pretty well. He's, happy to be doing some more shows. They've got some shows coming up starting. They're in rehearsal today. So the whole band is here in Gainesville, and they're doing rehearsal, preparing for a drive-in series that they have going. So they'll be in Newberry on Friday at the Post Farm. And they've got a Tampa show coming up that can be checked out online. You can look at the sisterhazel.com website and get tickets for that, and an Orlando show as well. So, we're doing what everyone's doing. We're just taking one step at a time, moving 1 foot forward. Yeah.
Yep, no doubt about it. Well, Jasmyn, last thing, if anybody wants to contact you, it's Jasmyn, JASMYNC at bbstampabay.org. What's the website? We'll put that up here as well. Just Big Brothers, Big Sisters?
And it's bbbstampabay.org. And I'll tell you, a lot of times the Tampa confuses people. And so we're under the umbrella of the Tampa division. So they have a total of 9 counties, well, 8 and going to be 9. But Alachua County, thank goodness, was one of the counties that they picked up. So that confuses people a little bit. But obviously, I'm an Alachua County resident. And so I'm here serving our county under the umbrella of the Tampa Bay division. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. We got the website up. Anything else we can do for you, let us know. But we really do appreciate you taking the time this morning, Jasmyn.
Thanks for having me on, Shane. Y'all are doing awesome. I love watching the shows. It's awesome to be a guest. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
All right. That's Jasmyn Copeland from Big Brothers Big Sisters here in Alachua County joining the program. Thanks, Jasmyn.
Thanks.
All right. Now we're going to go to JC, and he's going to give us some good nuggets on some sports that's going on this week. JC, you there, my man?
QB, I'm here, QB. That was nice hearing Jasmyn and, Drew and Andrew and Ken, great guys. I went to high school with Ken. So,
did he ask you to play in the band with him?
No, but he did ask me if I wanted a Busch beer. So, he's a great guy, Kenny. And, Drew, they've been a tremendous success. I'll tell you who else has been a success last night, the Dodgers in this playoff.
Cool.
Oh, my goodness. When Kershaw only has to throw 9 pitches in the first inning and then only throws 9 pitches over the next 3 innings, you're in trouble. And Tampa just didn't show enough patience. They did pull within 2-1 in the 5th when Kiermaier hit the home run, but it didn't feel like Tampa Bay was going to win that game to me. So after LA pulled away there in that bottom half, I just turned it off. I
tell you, a lot of the experts were leaning Tampa Bay because of their pitching staff.
Yeah.
But then they said the Dodgers, 1 through 9, they got so many freaking MVPs and just studs in that lineup. Those guys hit the baseball last night. It was crazy.
And Bellinger,
it'll be interesting. It'll be a good series. I think the Rays will bounce back tonight with Blake Snell on the mound.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then when Morton gets his chance, maybe in Game 3. But the thing about the Bellinger, that home run he hit the other night to put them over Atlanta to give them that 1-run lead. Did you know he separated his shoulder when they were doing the old forearm bump? Did you know that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and then he just went back in. They popped it back in, and he was out in center field and actually made the first out. He caught a ball in center field there to record the first out in the following inning. So I don't know really why they do this. I guess because they're celebrating, certainly. But man, you can hurt yourself, and he almost did seriously there, but he was okay. So I hope you're right. I hope with Snell and possibly Morton in the next 2 games, Tampa can get back some momentum, but they have to be patient at the plate.
Hang on a second. Oh, you have a Tennessee Titan hat on. I thought you probably came out with a Dodger hat today.
No, that would be a lighter blue like your shirt, QB. You know that. Come on.
I know, but sometimes they put them in different colors these days.
That's true. Now, I do have my Tampa Bay hat. 47.com is bringing me the Tampa Bay hat. I'm not giving up at all. Those guys are tremendous. Hopefully they can get Game 2 or 3. Yeah, QB, I was thinking here we are on Wednesday, another weekend of football about to commence. We have the Big Ten getting ready to start. But I was looking at the quarterback play in the SEC. And in conference games, did you know that there are 9 SEC quarterbacks who are averaging more than 30 pass attempts per game against conference-only teams? That's something I pulled out. As recently as 2017, there were just 3. So the SEC has 4 of the top 10 national pass efficiency leaders. Go ahead and tell me who they are, QB.
Mac Jones.
Yes, he's number 1.
Miles Brennan.
Miles is not in there. Nope.
Kyle Trask.
He's number 4. Yep.
Our man Matt Corral was, but he may have slipped a little.
Right. That last game didn't help, but he is still number 8. And the last one is Basilak out of Missouri. He's number 10. So, I mean, that to me shows you everything you need to know. You look back and you dig further into that data, and the SEC team's drop back percentage has gone all the way from 45% in 2016 to as high as 55.4%. So that's a 13% increase in dropbacks in the span of 3 seasons. to put that into perspective, only the Big 12 had a higher dropback percentage among Power 5 conferences at 57.4%. So the SEC is now, I guess, a version of the Big 12 when it comes to drop back passing. These guys, that's what they do now, and that's how you win. And I think the reason this started was Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss. He got it going with the RPO. They used the rules with the man downfield, and Alabama has taken over. And because Alabama has been successful doing the Hugh Freeze type of offense, I think what you're seeing is the league coming along with that, because Alabama was one of the few teams to move into that type of offense, but because of their success, I think that's why you're seeing the league do it.
But Alabama doesn't run the RPO.
Well, but Alabama throws the football, and I think
Alabama. I've said this on many shows in the last week.
Right.
Alabama's passing offense is the most comparable offense to Coach Spurrier's offense.
Yes, in the 90s.
They line up in the eye some.
Yeah.
They play action. It's a vertical down the field passing attack with combination routes. Nobody else does that.
Yeah.
Alabama does. But they don't do that. The RPO and all that stuff is all that Lane Kiffin and Freeze.
Yeah, I was going to say when Kiffin was the OC and Jalen Hurts was playing along with Blake Sims, they did
maybe a little bit, but with Mac Jones, it's all strictly just drop back and make good reads and throw it to those three best receivers in the country.
Yeah.
But no, the league has changed. You know, they're finding out that it puts so much pressure, and it's the fastest way to score.
Exactly, and you have to keep up with the teams who you're playing against who are scoring on you. You know, Mississippi, Alabama showed us that, didn't they? Not that I really enjoyed watching that kind of football, but the fact of the matter is that if Alabama doesn't keep up, Mississippi beats them. So luckily, Alabama was able to do that. I tell you what, speaking of Mississippi, that team, if Matt Corral can just not turn the ball over, I love that team this weekend over Auburn. And we're going to have our picks on Friday, and that's going to be obviously one of our games. But I really, really like their chances against a team that's struggling in Auburn. And I wouldn't be surprised one bit if they just took that game outright.
Well, I wouldn't either. Auburn has offensive issues. I don't think Auburn's defense is that bad, but it'll be interesting to see. I got a crazy recruiting stat for you, JC, since you love recruiting.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Alabama, Georgia, and LSU have 35 players who were five-star recruits currently on their roster.
Yeah.
The ACC, the Big 12, and the Pac-12 have a combined 39 players who were five-star recruits.
I mean, that is amazing, and I think it goes to what I've heard you say over and over again as how the rich get richer. It would seem, and look at Clemson too in that league. They're getting all the players, they're winning all the games, and Dabo has got a facility there and an environment that is just second to none. And if you have the opportunity to play there, why would you go to Virginia? So Now, unless you want to be some sort of Rhodes Scholar, you want to go to England and study academics.
How many football players are in that category?
Well, I know two. I know Greg McElroy and the kid from Florida State, Myron. I think his name was Roll. So those are the only two from schools not named in the Ivy League. So it's the way it is. It's just the way football has gotten. And I really think at some point, and I hope this happens, that we have a third division or a division where, these teams, and I know you disagree with this, but the East Carolinas of the world and the teams in the MAC, they play. And then we have Power 5 teams, maybe 4 conferences with 16 teams, something like that play. But I'm sure next year we're going to go right back to what we were doing before the pandemic hit, and we'll have 12 games with 3 games that are what you would not call necessarily as directly competitive, and then probably 8 conference games. They'll go right back to the formula that got them into all those playoffs, and that is 8 conference games when everybody else plays more, gives them more of a chance to lose, and the SEC has worked that pretty well, I'd say. Not that I like it, not that I think the fans want to see that, but I think that's what's going to probably happen next year. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe it's hard to go back once you've had something like this with all conference games, and I think fans are enjoying that, the ones who at least get to go, but certainly on television. But I have a feeling they'll go back to what they had before.
Yep, refresh your vehicle and your brand with a vehicle wrap from WrapSpot. October is your lucky month at WrapSpot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Yeah, JC, I don't know what they're going to do with the scheduling next year. I think, athletic departments are hurting so bad right now.
They are.
I don't know what they're going to do. It's a bad situation.
You think about it, QB. Do you really feel like, right now, do you think they're in the mood to stroke $1 million checks to smaller programs? I don't think right now they're in the mood to stroke any checks. They're trying to conserve what they have, keep their resources up, build their facilities as much as they can, understandably with lower revenues this year and understandably with a tighter belt. But you're right. That could change things. I will say this. One thing you could do from a fan's perspective is that when they do release tickets or release information on the SEC championship game, which is still scheduled for December the 19th, and you have an inclination to want to go to that, because let's say in 2 weeks, Florida beats Georgia and Florida has the inside track to the SEC game. I've done a little research on some of these travel sites, and the hotels in Atlanta, which have cancellation rights, you can just basically blow out of it if you don't want to. But a good idea might be to go ahead, and if you think Florida can win, or if you have some Alabama fans out there who are thinking here in the area or wherever they're watching, want to book up Atlanta and hope to get a ticket to that game, which may be hard to get. The rooms in Atlanta are not hard to get, and you could stay at a place like the Marriott or the Westin or somewhere cool downtown where all the activity usually transpires. This could be different this year, but we're looking at $100 a night, whereas traditionally it was $400-500 a night to stay at a place like the Marriott Marquis. So if they give you cancellation opportunities, book it. Book the room right now. Do it Friday, Saturday in the booking, and if things fall apart, like they could easily do, cancel it. But get in.
That's brought to you by Expedia.com right there.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I just think it's a good idea because,
we got a Facebook Live comment here brought to you by Melvin Law, where you matter most. Rick says, I was a Rhodes Scholar. My school told me to hit the road.
Well, yeah. There is a reason why you go to college other than football or sports. But I get it, Rick. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yep. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today, 352-244-0840. Well, JC, did you see where the Gators got more positive tests?
Yeah.
It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it.
Well, you have to wonder, contact tracing is so important now, I think, because it gives more information on how this can happen. And obviously it happens when people go out. I certainly would not advocate another lockdown, but I don't ever want to see that.
Well, we don't know. It could have started in the hotel at Texas A&M. Could have been on the airplane coming back.
Could, yeah.
We don't know. Yeah. It's just, you're talking about people booking their hotel rooms. I know they spray these hotel rooms down, but there's no guarantee that that's not going to infect you. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's more about, I don't know how you get, I do know how you get it, I think, but I think contact with other people, being close together is a problem and can give you more than if I touched this phone and it was sitting over on the table and somebody who was infected 30 minutes ago touched it. I don't think that, I'm not going to go any further than that. But
I don't think any of us know, and I don't think, right now, you could go take a test, JC, and you could test positive.
That's right.
You could feel perfectly fine and still have test positive.
Well, we saw that happen to Coach Saban last week, even though it was considered a false positive. It's really amazing how 3 tests later, it was all negative. So it's really hard to understand. I look at symptoms, and being asymptomatic is just as bad, but not for the carrier, obviously. It could be just as bad for people he comes in contact with who could then become symptomatic. So the unknowns are too great. I think it's good that Florida obviously isn't playing this week, but I'm really concerned about how this season is going to progress because they're not even practicing.
They can't. If everything goes smoothly, they will go 16 days with no activity, and then they'll start practice on Monday getting ready for Missouri.
We can hope.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's the best case scenario, and it's just very bizarre. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Any update on Coach Mullen? Is he doing okay? You've got any?
Yeah, far as I know. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, JC, here's your
All right.
homework assignment. We got our man Steve
All right.
Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus online. We're getting ready to
Okay.
take a break. You got to go study, get your picks ready for the Peachland Dentistry weekend picks on
Yeah.
Friday. Go do your homework.
You're 19-11. I'm 18-10. We're ready to do it Friday. We'll see you then.
All right, be safe. At Center
All
State
right.
Bank, we put business first. We're the largest community bank in the state of Florida and understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. Center State has 5 convenient Alachua County locations to serve you better. Center State Bank, member FDIC. Going to take our time out here. When we come back, we'll be joined by Pro Football Focus senior analyst Steve Palazzolo. We'll be right back.
This is Shane Matthews. Thank you for listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. You can also check me out on Inside the Huddle with Steve Russell and the head ball coach Steve Spurrier. Tune in every Tuesday during football season on WRUF 98.1 FM, 8:50 a.m. at 10 o'clock in the morning, or find us on your favorite podcast platform. We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Area Rug Masters, your number one choice in Gainesville for all your rug cleaning services. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Celebration Point Town Center. Center State Bank. Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Miapa Latin Cafe, Rap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Radware, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to this Wednesday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Point's where the Gators go to celebrate, with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Tommy Hilfiger, Hotel Indigo, Nike, Medici, Regal Cinemas, and coming spring of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and Visor's Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators come to celebrate. We're now going to go to the Titan MR Hotline. We're going to be joined by senior analyst of Pro Football Focus, Steve Palazzolo. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. So I want to talk NFL first, and then we're going to get to the Gators and some of their players. Right now, I mean, you guys watch every play of every game, grade every player. Right now, who's the best team in the National Football League?
Oh, man. I mean, I'm always trying to balance what we've seen through 6 weeks with what we've seen in previous years. So a team like the Chiefs, even though they might not be living up to preseason expectations, I still think the Chiefs are the team to beat. But I think you see a team like the Seahawks moving up on them. I think the Ravens are still in the mix. I'd go with the Chiefs, though. I just think they have the ability to win anyway. And anytime you have Mahomes and that passing attack, I think the Chiefs, the defending champs, are still the team to beat, even though they're not undefeated like a couple other teams.
Have you seen, watching tape, and I don't get to see all the Chiefs games just when they're on national TV. It just looks like defenses are playing them different now. Almost, let's play a soft zone or soft man, keep everything in front, don't let Mahomes have the big play. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, the Buffalo was doing stuff like that, just playing it, light boxes, inviting them to run, which is great. I mean, that's what happens to great quarterbacks as they get, as they develop and get older. Teams start saying, look, we're going to take the pass away. And then there was a game against Oakland, the Las Vegas Raiders now, where they did a really good job of taking away, some of the traditional pass concepts for the Chiefs. And Mahomes almost reverted back to Texas Tech style. He was, leaving the pocket, playing outside of structure. So it's fascinating every week watching teams try to, slow down this Chiefs offense. They still have answers for everything, but yeah, it's a little bit different, a little bit less explosive this season because of it.
So right now, would you say that Russell Wilson is the league MVP?
Yeah, I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers was in that mix until that terrible game against the Bucs last weekend. So Wilson has just played, really clean. I think he's been helped surprisingly by the system there as well. They've actually schemed up some easy throws for him, but he's also been incredible throwing the ball down the field. Decision making, he's just not missing a ton. So yeah, I think Wilson. It was Wilson and Rodgers, I think, in their own tier for a while. Rodgers back down to the rest of the pack, and Wilson, I think, in a class of his own right now.
Let's touch on the three teams here in the state of Florida. Let's start first with the worst team, the Jaguars. Are they going to end up firing everybody, you think?
I mean, I think it's a clear rebuild. There was a point where I thought that Gardner Minshew was kind of tank-proof, and I thought that he would, he's got a little of that fourth quarter magic, and I thought he'd do enough to maybe help them win some games. I think I've soured on that just a touch. I think coming into the year is a clear rebuild. So this year it's about which young guys are the guys to build around, and then figuring out what the quarterback situation is going forward. So yeah, I could see an overhaul happen in Jacksonville.
Down in Miami, they're sitting at 3-3. Ryan Fitzpatrick's played pretty well. He's been playing forever. Are you surprised that they're going to Tua now? Because they're in the hunt to win the East.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I think as much as it would be great to win right now, I do think the Dolphins, the most important thing for their franchise is Tua in his development. So, I'm of the belief that when you draft that next guy, whatever your plan is for him, you don't deviate from it because of, say, a Ryan Fitzpatrick. And Fitzpatrick's awesome. Like, he's so fun to watch. He's played great football the last 3 years. He really has. He's the best 3 years of his career. But the future of that franchise depends on Tua. So if you think, hey, our plan was the bye, then we're putting him in there against the Rams, then you stick with that no matter what Fitzpatrick's doing. And then there's also something too. Fitz has been a bit of a roller coaster ride his entire career. There's nothing wrong with selling high on him, before maybe things go sour. So I like the move. Can't wait to see what Tua's going to do.
In Tampa, obviously the Bucs with the big win, as you mentioned, over the Packers. Brady, this is probably the most talented skill guys he's had around him. But, man, they look really good on defense.
They are flying around the ball, playmakers at every level. The linebackers so fast. Devin White, Levante David played a great game against the Packers. And then, defense is so tough in the NFL because if you face a good offense, it's really tough to slow them down. But when you have Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean and, some of the other guys that they've added in the secondary the last couple of years, they just make life difficult on opposing passing attacks. That's going to give them a shot. In the NFC, and now it's still about Brady and Bruce Arians and really meshing those two systems and schemes and styles, which I think they did a better job of, I think, this past week. So can't wait to watch that unfold as the season goes on. But yeah, the Bucs, that was a statement game against the Packers last week.
I got a text here on the Titan Mark text line from Steve. It comes from Jim. He's a New York Jets fan, poor guy.
Oh boy.
He says, will Trevor Lawrence be our quarterback next year?
Yeah, I mean, we simulate the season, we could kind of project that. We have an almost 50% chance to have the number one overall pick. The Jets are just weak across the board, as you've seen. And I think, Lawrence, he's the guy to go number one. I thought Justin Fields could maybe, challenge that. But Lawrence just continues to get better. He makes NFL things look easy. So, yeah, he's the number one overall pick, and it looks like the Jets are the favorite to have that pick. So, yeah, get ready. Trevor Lawrence in New York.
Do you think there's any chance of Trevor Lawrence pulling an Eli Manning saying, I'm not going to go play for the Jets?
I don't think so. I mean, there's always that possibility, but I could, look, I think most quarterbacks are competitors, right? Like, you want to be the guy that turns that team around. And I think there's something to going to New York, right? And being under the spotlight. I think, who knows? But I could see Lawrence taking, going wherever he has to go and trying to turn that team around.
I watched a lot of football, played a lot of football. He looks like the most ready. I know they say Andrew Luck and Peyton were when they came out of college, but this dude is bigger than both of them, more athletic than both of them, can make all the throws. Do you think he's the best prospect at that quarterback position to ever come out of college?
Yeah, I hate that too sometimes because it's like, all right, do you have all the tools? Do you have all the stuff, right? And he does. But I think he's right up in there in that Peyton and Luck and John Elway type of echelon, because what I was most impressed about is he comes in as a true freshman and just didn't make bad decisions. You're supposed to have true freshmen bad decisions. Now, he had a couple lulls as a sophomore, but I just think his decision-making is fantastic. He's making outside the numbers throws with ease, as I said, but he really does it all. And then you add that athletic component that so many of the NFL quarterbacks have right now. You don't have to be Lamar Jackson. You just, you got to be able to pick up some yards when they're available. Lawrence has that. So I think he's got all the tools, accuracy to all levels of the field, and he does continue to improve, which I'm most impressed about. His accuracy has been off the charts this season as far as pinpoint ball placement. So yeah, I think Lawrence is right up there with the best prospects that we've seen in the last 30 years. And not to overhype him too much, but I think he's got everything you're looking for.
No doubt. I got another text here for you. It comes from Fred, big Dolphins fan. It's the Titan MR text line. He wants to know, do you think the Dolphins trade Fitzpatrick to the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, it's funny because I think it's an actual possibility. Now, there's an element to the Dolphins where you just say, look, we are actually in the hunt. Tua is coming off of an injury, and you do want to have that backup quarterback, right? And you just have Fitz around. He's a great dude, and, he helps Tua's development. So there's that element of it. But right now, as far as stock goes, Fitz is high and Andy Dalton's low. I do think Andy Dalton's going to revert back and be okay, but I would be interested in that. Miami's still technically in rebuild mode. Draft picks are valuable, and I could see them considering it and trying to maybe take advantage of Dallas being a little desperate right now after that Monday night game against Dalton. I could see it. I don't think it's likely, but I could absolutely see it happening.
Speaking with Steve Palazzolo, senior analyst at Pro Football Focus. You can follow him on Twitter at PFF_Steve. A couple more NFL questions. I want to get to the Gators. How do you think Joe Burrow has played so far this season?
I think he's played really well considering the circumstances there. The offensive line is one of the league's worst. They protected him a little bit better last week against the Colts, but overall, I think he's shown the short area accuracy, the intermediate accuracy that we thought he had coming out of LSU. He could do a better job throwing the ball down the field. But I think, the Bengals, they attack offensive line heavily this offseason, free agency, the draft. And I think he's shown everything you're looking for. Now, he's a little limited. When you compare him to, say, a Trevor Lawrence, Burrow's a little limited with his arm. He doesn't have a cannon for an arm. He's got a tighter margin of error over the middle of the field. We saw that last week with the Colts as well. But I think he's got everything you're looking for to succeed. And I've been impressed with what he's been able to do given that situation in Cincinnati so far.
I think one of the great stories in the NFL this year, Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans. They've had the COVID issue where they didn't practice. They come out and they played extremely well. Derrick Henry's a beast. Tannehill's playing well. Talk a little bit about the coaching strategy that Vrabel used the other day, inserting the 12th man to get a penalty call to save some time.
It was so impressive. Last year, him and Belichick both did that thing where you take the delay of game on the punt and the clock keeps running. So you've got that little, take advantage of the rules. And then the other day, it's 2nd and 1. You pretty much know you're going to give up the first down. And Vrabel says, hey, take this 12-man on the field penalty. Just take it. The clock stops. We save about 30, 40 seconds. And it ended up saving the game for them because, they said, look, it's 2nd and 1. It's like 90% they're going to convert. Just let them convert, and the time is more valuable. And to me, one of the most impressive things about that, I think a lot of coaches have that game management knowledge. But, Shane, you know how it is in the middle of a game. Things happen quick. It's fast. The decisions that you have to make are on the fly. But, to have that level of preparation and knowledge and say, this is the time. Here's where we're going to run this. Take the 12-man on the field penalty, and time's more valuable than the down and all that stuff. I was just so impressed with that ability. It's very Belichick-like, that level of preparation and the ability to execute on the fly. So Vrabel just making little moves like that, just very impressed with what he's been able to do with the Titans.
Yeah, they've been very impressive. And as you mentioned, doing that during that situation, incredible. Okay, let's switch over to the Gators. Gators sit at 2-1, have some COVID issues. Y'all break down all the plays. Just give us your thoughts. Kyle Trask had a tremendous year last year. How has he played so far with y'all's grading system?
Yeah, he's played well, better than we had last year. I feel like our guys have to maybe temper expectations for Trask just a little bit. I think at a macro level, you look at Florida and you say, okay, well, he's the best quarterback that they've had since Tebow, right? So, I think that's fair. And the offense certainly looks different last year when he took over. And it's been incredible this year. Quick decisions, getting the ball into the playmakers' hands and all that stuff. I would temper expectations as far as maybe first-round hype or Heisman expectations. Obviously, that is probably out the window now because they did lose the game to A&M. But I think he's done a really nice job of getting the ball into playmakers' hands, spreading it around. He's made a few really nice throws, still has to cut down on some of the poor decisions. He still has a bit of a blind spot for linebackers, and I don't think he's got that outside the pocket, outside of structure playmaking ability to kind of complete his game. But when you talk about the lack of quality quarterback play that the Gators have had over the last 10 years or so, man, I mean, he is really helping take this offense to the next level.
Kadarius Toney is a little receiver who actually, in my opinion, has played his best football this year. In the past, he's made some great plays, but then he's made some bonehead plays running backwards too much. Do you see him fitting into any system in the National Football League?
Yeah, I think he's evolved his game from just, kind of a gimmick player that's running jet sweeps and, taking direct snaps or whatever it is. I think he's evolved into being a little bit more of a slot receiver. Some of the routes that he has run this year are absolutely fantastic. I think it's similar. Braxton Miller tried that a couple years ago. The Ohio State quarterback tried to convert to slot receiver. And I think the trick there is not putting too many moves on, getting open quickly. And I think Toney can still improve. Look, you got to get open. You got to get open quickly. Tidy up your footwork, which is his footwork itself is fantastic. It's just the nuances of route running. And I think he's already taken a good step in that direction. So I can see him being that half gimmick player, but also a legitimate underneath slot receiver that you just say, look, got to get the ball in this guy's hands because he's so dynamic.
Kyle Pitts, huge mismatch at the collegiate level. How do y'all have him graded out? I think he's got tremendous body control, tremendous hands, ball skills. On tape, how do y'all grade him, and where do you project him? Is he definitely a first rounder?
Yeah, we had him as our number one tight end coming into the season, over the Penn State kid, over guys that technically are more traditional all-around tight ends. I struggle with, say, a comparison at the next level, but he's still so young. And I look at a guy like Darren Waller from the Raiders, who was a wide receiver in college. And, Pitts has a wide receiver type of body, more of a wide receiver body than a tight end body. So I think it's going to maybe take some time, but you look at his youth and you say, okay, he could bulk up a little bit. You're not going to make him a traditional inline tight end at the next level, but all the things you mentioned, the ball skills, the body control, everything that he's able to do, the toughness over the middle, after the catch ability, that is something an NFL offense wants. And then they just have to deploy him properly. He's not maybe he has the ability to get up into that Travis Kelce, level. Kelce, again, isn't your traditional tight end. You got to be creative with him, but he's going to be in the slot. He's going to be outside, and you're going to feed him the ball. So I think Pitts has that level of ability, and it's great that he's showing it with all the 7 touchdowns this year and making a ton of plays. He's one of the highest rated players we have just from a pure production standpoint in the nation. So, yeah, he's been great.
Trayvon Grimes kind of has an NFL body type. What have you seen from him? Is he a guy that might get drafted?
Yeah, I think he's another one of those guys that has like a late round opportunity. I think he's, big bodied guy that does, uses it all right. I don't know if he's dynamic enough. He's created some big plays this year, but maybe not dynamic enough compared to, your NFL receivers. But I think he's, solid and he'll get a shot, and you just continue to see a change of pace this last couple of years with the Gators putting so many playmakers into the NFL. So I think Grimes has a shot to be one of the next guys for sure.
Defensively, Florida has struggled this year. Marco Wilson's a guy that came back. He's been picked on a little bit. I don't know if he's been picked on. He hasn't played well. He's had good coverage, just hasn't made the play. They have him play in multiple positions. You think he's a guy that can play at the next level? Yeah,
I mean, again, it's tough when you watch film and you separate, what does he look like? How does he move and all that stuff versus the production, right? And this year, the production's definitely been lacking. As you mentioned, he's given up 14 yards per catch and, almost, 260 yards through 3 games. But a lot of that is, just being a step slow in zone. They are asking a lot of him. He's covering, some of the jet sweep guys. He's playing underneath zone. He's playing some man coverage. He's doing a lot of different things, but he's got the athleticism, the movement skills, and all that. He's just got to clean up his game a little bit. Honestly, we saw a lot of that from CJ Henderson last year. Henderson has everything you're looking for, but you get beat sometimes, and it's the nature of the cornerback position. So yeah, Wilson could definitely play a little bit better. Had a rough game against A&M, but I think he definitely has NFL ability for sure. I
want to ask you real quick about Alabama. Their offense is rolling right now. those three receivers are three of the best I've ever seen in college football. Are they all three first-round picks?
Yeah, they're absolutely incredible. I mean, they just lost Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs, and when they were able to trot out those guys, Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, and you got Mechie in there, it is incredible what Alabama has done, and they're all. Scouts said Devontae Smith ran in the 4.5s. I mean, I don't know if he tripped or crawled or what. He does not play like a 4.5 guy. They all look like they're 4.3 legitimate speed guys out there. So I don't know how you defend that. So, yeah, I think they're all first-round caliber players, just like Ruggs and Jeudy were. And, man, it must be nice playing quarterback at Alabama with those guys. The thing about Devontae Smith, too, he looks fast and he's got incredible ball skills, too. There's a difference between just running fast and then being able to make plays. But all of these guys, they go up and get it. They create after the catch. Just a factory right now at Alabama when it comes to playmakers.
Yeah, so having said that, what are your thoughts about Mac Jones, their quarterback?
Yeah, so I think he's played well. I mean, again, accuracy-wise and everything, he's graded well for us. He's played well for us. I think you always have to separate the fact that, okay, if you are in college throwing to all first-rounders, how much of that is you, how much of that is them? But I have been impressed, more impressed maybe than I expected. I thought he'd be more of a game manager, more of a guy that is just spreading it around and, taking advantage of that talent. But he's made some big throws down the field. So I think he's much more on NFL radars, maybe than what was expected coming into the year because he has played so well. It's early, but definitely been impressed with Mac Jones compared to maybe what I expected coming into the season.
Ohio State starts this weekend. You mentioned Justin Fields possibly, could possibly be a number one pick. When you look at him play, is he a better player than Dwayne Haskins was? Or could there be that possibility where he doesn't pan out at the next level?
I think Fields I think he's a better player than Haskins. Yeah, I thought Haskins was one of those guys, we go through the play-by-play grading and we do all this and he puts up 50 touchdowns and we had a good, not great grade on Haskins. And a lot of that is just, when you throw a 5-yard slant, that's great. But when it becomes a 60-yard play, that's the receiver, not you. Haskins had a lot of that. He did a nice, I keep using this phrase, but distributing and taking advantage of playmakers. But Ohio State did that with with Haskins. I think Fields took that offense to the next level. The athleticism helps, his rushing ability, but his accuracy and decision-making was even better than Haskins. It's not just the fact that he threw 3 interceptions against 41 touchdowns last year, but he didn't have many interceptions that even, he didn't have a ton of just what we call turnover-worthy plays that should have been picked off. Now, Fields can do a better job in the pocket, takes too many sacks. He did have a few, some fumble issues. He can improve there, but even that's not that different from Haskins. I think Fields really elevated that offense, and I think he has a chance to have a special season once again.
Last thing for you, Steve, is Travis Etienne the best running back in college football?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, he does it all. They're using him in the pass game a little bit, trying to make some plays down the field. I think with running backs, I always try to look at what you do outside of your run blocking, right? Are you forcing guys to miss? Are you creating after contact? He does that at an incredible level. We know if he gets into the open field, he's gone with his speed. I think everybody was shocked that he came back, but I think people underestimate how much college kids like playing college football and they like playing for national championships. And I respect the fact that it seems like that's what he wanted to do. Hey, let's go out on top and try to win another title. So, I think he's the best and an absolute playmaker. And it's been, a joy to watch him and Trevor Lawrence and a lot of those Clemson players develop the last couple of years.
Has Pro Football Focus already started breaking down every play Arch Manning as a 10th grader has?
Well, not him specifically, but we do grade some high school players now. We're expanding to high school to try to help with recruiting a little bit and some of our college clients. So I assume we will have some Arch Manning grading coming up soon. I can't believe we have another Manning in the mix right now.
Well,
it's great.
Let me tell you something. I watched him play, and his release is better than his two uncles, and he's way more athletic than his two uncles. We shall see if he pans out.
Oh, boy.
He looks like a very good player. Real quick, I wanted to ask you this, and I may ask you last time. I'm just trying to picture Pro Football Focus, all you guys sitting in like a basement somewhere, everybody with just their head buried in a computer. Tell us briefly, kind of like a normal day, what you guys do.
Yeah, I mean, we have hundreds of people working for us now, but the gist of it is grading every single player on every play, NFL and college. So yeah, most people are working from home when they do that, but when the college games are happening on Saturday, we have a little bit of live data analysis. So everybody's inputting data from the game, and then we have our graders going through and reviewing every play, and they're saying, hey, did Trask make a great throw and it got dropped? Yep, we're going to give Trask credit for that. Or did he misread a linebacker, threw it right to him? We're going to give him a bad grade for that, whether it's picked off or not. So we go through every play, adding that level of context. And we grade all the college games on Saturday, all the NFL games on Sunday. They come out into these 0 to 100 grades. And, a day in the life at PFF is, we have guys that just review quarterbacks and coverage. And we have guys that just review the run game and just review pass rushing and pass protection. And they're just grinding through, making sure that all of these technically subjective grades have an objective view in, through our eyes and analysis, that they are consistent. So it's people grading, reviewing, and making sure that all the grades and stats that come out are as good as they possibly can be.
Wow, that's awesome. So, Steve, let everybody know how they can check out Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, so pff.com, so if you're just a Gators fan, Florida fan, we have a whole college product with all of these grades and stats. If you're into the NFL, we have the NFL side, Edge, and Elite package. Elite's the best one where you get all the grades and stats, our gambling information, our fantasy information, all that. And then I host the PFF NFL podcast, which is my co-host and I, Sam Monson, go through all the NFL games every single week.
Good stuff, man. Appreciate you taking the time, man. Really enjoyed it. And y'all be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yep, that's Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus. Going to take our last time out on the program here. When we come back, we'll wrap this show up.
Hey Gator Nation, this is your former head ball coach Steve Spurrier. Check out our show Inside the Huddle with Shane Matthews and Steve Russell every Tuesday during football season on 8:50 a.m. and 98.1 FM WRUF at 10 o'clock a.m.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility.
Area Rug Masters, your number one choice in Gainesville for all your rug cleaning services.
Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance, Pomodoro Cafe,
Big Mills Cheesesteaks,
MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Aver and Smith Personal Injury Attorneys, Orange Theory Fitness, PRP Regeneration Specialist, and Dowling Signs.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security Studio. This Day in Sports is brought to you by Area Rug Masters, Gainesville's most trusted area rug cleaner. With free pickup and delivery, Area Rug Masters is a convenient way to keep the focal point of your room looking brand new. Call Area Rug Masters, 252-448-5999. This Day in Sports in 2007, Tennessee Titans kicker Rob Peronis sets an NFL record for the most points scored in a game for no touchdowns. He scored 26 points in the Titans' 38-36 win against the Houston Texans. That's pretty impressive. That's brought to you by Area Rug Masters. Really want to thank Jasmyn Copeland from Big Brothers Big Sisters here in Alachua County for joining the program. If you want to get involved, check out the website, her email address on the Facebook feed here. And also Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus. They have great information giving us his thoughts on NFL and also some of the Gator players. Tomorrow's show, Thursday, that means Brent Beard talking college football. We'll also have our high school, Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. We have a couple volleyball coaches going to join us. They're in the first round of the playoffs, and high school football is starting to wind down. Today's show's a wrap brought to you by Wrap Spot, folks. Be safe out there. We'll see you tomorrow.